All right. Good morning. It is a beautiful Tuesday morning in the Arizona desert. Beautiful Tuesday all over the world, I'm sure. But it is almost 6 a.m. here, and we're going to be working on the world's worst blog, which turned into maybe not the worst blog anymore. Just not the world's best blog. But I'm pretty happy with where we're at here. We can log in, we can log out, we can leave comments. Has all the functionality that I want. Can change your username. That's what I wanted to do. All right, so I'm remembering now. Be nice to make it so that display names were unique. Not a huge deal if that's not true. It's anonymous, so that is not necessary. What I really need to finish this up is a couple different things. Routing would be good. So making it so, yeah, I think that has to do with servering. So getting this, let me think here. Yeah, I think making it so, let me think through this. I want to sort of have an index page that will display all of the articles and display the most recent ones first. Oh, okay. Before I even do that, excuse me, I'm getting ahead of myself. I wanted to rework the comment section. Yeah, I wanted to rework the comment section. So now that I know a little bit more, now that I've done a little bit more, now that I've prototyped a little bit more, I know that the way I've structured these comments is not the way that I actually want them. I want each comment to be a single document with a single comment inside of it. That's what I want. So, and inside that comment will be the user's ID, and we'll make it so that you can only post a comment. Yeah, you can only post a comment if you're logged in. You have to be logged in, and your ID matches the ID that you're posting. So you can anyone can attempt to write if they're logged in. Okay, that's what we want. So let's delete this comment here. And it's gonna cause some issues on my front end. But let's add a document, an auto-generated ID, and we're gonna have a comment body. This is a test comment. It's gonna have a UID field. I was thinking it might be a reference. Reference could be good because it would actually be a reference to the user's settings, but then I have to, I'm not sure. The other idea was to make it a string where it's just the user ID, but I could make it a reference. Not a bad idea, because then I don't have to do the extra querying, I think, to get the user information. Yeah, let's make it a reference. So this would be user data slash something slash user ID. And then another one that is going to be timestamp, like this, and we'll just set it to the current timestamp. Okay. Now we have this, and so the idea would be that this UID, I might be wrong here. Yeah. So let's go get the actual UID. So let's come back up to user data, this thing here. This is the actual reference that we would have. And let's edit that field. And the idea is the UID is going to have to reference the user's information. But let's see if we can refactor our comment display out front, so that way it can render this properly. Because right now, if we go and we try to do it, it's gonna be console errors. Yeah, because it's not correct. It no longer uses that format. So let's come in here. We're gonna go to our app, get comments. Excuse me. And we're gonna get all of the documents. And the idea here is I should no longer need UIDs. I should be able to use it as just like a reference. Gonna have a reference which I can get that in. Oh, maybe I do still need UIDs. I'm not 100% sure. So this is gonna loop through each. All right, so we have get docs, articles, the name of the article, comments. It's gonna get me back a collection of all of these docs in the comments. And put this down here. Okay. Then we're gonna loop through each document. We no longer have to do this. Ideally, our data is correct now, and we actually have, rather than doc.ref, let's do const data, doc data. So we're gonna enforce at the database level that this is the structure of this. So when someone goes to insert into the database, it has to have this structure. So we know that data now has a UID field. So UID is going to be data.uid. We're going to add that to this set. And I'm curious if all of those UIDs now become unique. So for example, this is a reference type. So I'm really curious if this data, this set here will if I have a comment by the same person, is the equality check in a set good enough to keep it from having to do that, from adding it twice? So that sets have a property that you can't add. If you try to add something that's already there, it doesn't add it. So set versus list. List would let you add that thing multiple times. All right, then here, the actual comment is gonna be the body. Okay, so we're building up comments like this. And so we would be saying user comment. So actually comments dot push. We're gonna push in. The cool thing is we could probably add a query here to sort these from the database level. We're gonna hold off on that for a second. Body is data dot. Honestly, we could probably just push data in here like this. So now it's gonna have all that in there. Keep that reference. I'm cool with that. Okay. We don't need user comments anymore. Because before, every user had a set, like an array of comments, and then we had to sort them later. Just see how this is doing so far. We're gonna skip this get user data, is where we take the reference and we dereference it. So we're gonna wait on that. So I just kind of want to see what is in UID. We're We're gonna sort by timestamp. Yes, still called timestamp. I think this will still work. And then we're gonna call add comment. Okay, so the comment gets added in. It's comment body, comment timestamp. And then for now, it should hopefully just say deleted account because there is no display name. We gotta get display name added in there based on this reference. All right, let's see what breaks. I saw an error. UID is not defined at get comments line 96. UIDs. There we go. Let's refresh. Should have a comment in there. Delete account. This is the test comment. Okay. Let's duplicate this, and I want to see whether or not my set has multiple elements in it. Okay, so can I, is there a duplicate option? Delete collection. Might just have to, hello? Firebase not responding. I really should. So there's a package I can download. I have a local Firebase so that I don't have to be working with my production Firebase. That's the correct way to do this. I'm doing this in a kind of hacky way. Oh, what's going on? My internet working? Speed test. Yeah, my internet's still working. Oh, this is Firebase. Let's exit that page. Let's try. My internet's fine. Not the best, not the worst. Something got caught up there. I've been noticing that that's this minor issue almost every time I do this. Okay. So in our comments, I don't think there's a duplicate option. Yeah, I really want to just copy this. Well, let's just add another document. Auto ID. Body. This is another test comment. A timestamp. We'll make it today again. And then let's add in a reference. I'm gonna need to copy that reference again. This is called UID. User data / my ID. But we should be able to get this. Yep. I'm curious. Okay. Refresh this. I do have two different things in my set. So unfortunately, this does not this does not get me uniqueness on those, even though they're technically the same reference. So I have this thought, I'm going like, okay, well, can I make it so that when I get these, I only want to get one? So let's go look at the documentation on references. API web reference reference document reference. The document identifier within its collection ID. So I'm assuming that the IDs will be identical. Let's print out UIDs for each UID console.log UID.id. Yeah. So this is what I want to be unique. So that's going to be my key, I think. So when we do this in our comment in this data thing, we're going to do data dot UI data dot so I'm calling it UID in the database. Probably should be called UID reference or something like that, or user settings reference. Let's call it calling it UID, and still get it there. I don't know that I have to push it in again, UID.ID, but in my UIDs, I really want to save it as a reference. All right, so here's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna make this a map. Yes, I'm gonna make this a map. We're gonna do UIDs at UID.ID equals UID. Data.UID. So this will be unique on every ID. Let's see here. Yes, every ID will have a unique reference. There's no for each now because it's a map, I suppose. That's interesting. Or it's saying that there's no ID field. That's interesting. I'm surprised that JSON objects don't have a for each. I assumed it would go through every key, but I'm wrong. That's okay. So this is gonna get us a set of all of the references. All right, so now we have all of the references, and we're gonna load up the user data from that. So get user data. From keys. Is that true? UIDs.keys. I guess that's line 104. Let's stop this here. I want to make sure. No keys. Okay. How do you get the keys? I know. I'm pretty sure there's an object. Object.keys. Yes. So we'll use object.keys. Object.keys on UID. Do I have how many now? Okay. So I don't think that might actually just work. Look at that. Didn't it crash? All right, so we're taking our UIDs, and for each, see, now we have a reference. So this is what's interesting is we have a reference. I'm curious whether or not I have to do get docs on each of those keys in that way. Like, what would be more efficient, to do a get docs this way or to have that reference and just do a get doc on the reference? I don't know. I'm not sure. I'm gonna do this for now, and then we'll need to do a little bit of research. But this might actually get us our username. Nope. Comment. Interesting. Users UID for each doc. Let's look what users has in that. Console.log users. It should. I have the display name there like that. Because no, this is very different now. in that if comment does not have a UID, right. So this is, the UID is now a reference. This should be ID. Cannot read properties of undefined. Comment display users dot ID. So we were using the reference before, now we're using the ID of the reference. There we go. So now I get that back. I don't know, this feels a little bit not correct, but I'm okay with it for now. Because I should probably just be using the reference. I'm pretty sure I can do get, can I do get docs? Let's look at what get docs accepts. Get docs, query. I have document reference. Yeah. So I want in Firestore get docs array of references. I have the following structure. Now I have 1, 2, 3. Do firestore.doc get, and each one do collections. Iterate the list and get each item. Firestore doesn't offer some optimize to get multiple documents in one query using the web and mobile. Plenty of it just to get one in its own query. You won't have any problems with this approach. Interesting. So there, at least in 2020, there wasn't a way to do this. Fascinating. So this might actually be the best way to do it, because I actually only query the database once. Even though I have references to these things, it's based off the ID. So maybe I actually just want the ID, the user ID stored here. Oh, I lost, there it is. So I'm actually thinking this shouldn't be a reference, instead should be a string. So let's trash this. We're gonna make it a string. Let's edit it real quick. Still this ID. And UID is going to become a string of the commenter rather than a reference, since we're going to have to query that back out anyway. All right. So in this case, my code, get rid of UID.ID. These just become UIDs. Data.UID. And I guess I can go back to a set now. Yeah, so this should be a set. UIDs.add data.UID, like that. Get user data. This was array.from. I think sure I'm missing something. Comment.UID. Well, let's go refresh this. Did I get it all in one go? I can't believe that. That's fascinating. I can't believe I got it all in one go. All right. Let's get rid of my console logs here. Okay, so I'm loading that up. Now we're gonna have to change how post comment works, because post comment, you have to send your user ID with you to the database. So the rules should now be different. All right. So articles, name, comments. You're not posting the user ID. This is now doc ID. And in fact, I don't think I need this. We just want to write there, and we want to say the request dot auth. I think we have to just request that auth tells us that we're logged in, and then our comment has only body, timestamp, and UID. Those are things it needs to be, and we're gonna require request. This should be the user ID here needs, so request.auth.uid, and we'll pass in request.auth.uid. So in addition to data, we have taken the UID. And so the first thing we actually check is UID is after we know that it has those keys, and UID is equal to data.uid. All right, so those are two requirements that we're gonna have here. All right, so let's check this out. Let's do a test here. So we want to write to something like this. I think we can generate a generic, refactoring chess program. Oops. I can't use the left and right arrow here, which drives me nuts. Oh, we got a little spam bot in our chat. But we did have Zenny. I think that's how you might pronounce it. Thanks for the follow. Thanks for watching. I hope you're getting something out of this. I am. All right, so the path here is articles, something like this. All right, so I want to write to this document. So this is sort of our document path. We shouldn't be able to just create. So if I try and run this here, it's going to yell at us, right? You can't write to it. But let's build the document. We want to write specifically. We're going to authenticate. All right, we're going to pretend our user ID is my user ID like this. We should still not be able to write. Oh, it's interesting. All right, so I do need to do this here, doc ID, like this. It's not catching on the right spot. All right, so now it's catching, it's failing in the right spot. Type error. Okay, request.auth. How do we do a request.auth to make sure that the user is logged in? This isn't correct here. Request.auth. Let's double check. Firebase. We want the Firestore documentation. Getting started with security rules. Let's see if there's a little documentation in here for us. How can I? One sec. I have to deal with this later. I'm not sure how to remove. There's a spam in the chat. I'm not sure how to remove that, but I'll have to do a little bit of research on how to get rid of that there. All right, so I want to make sure writing rules, security rules. I see. Allow redirect on any user signed in. So request auth not equal to null. So we're saying that their authorization. All right, so we'll do that. So if they're not equal to null. Okay, so now property resource is undefined. Okay, so you have to have a resource. So we're gonna say and request.resource is not equal to null. That's because I haven't provided a document. So now we're gonna fail on that. Okay, so if we try and do that, it's gonna tell us our resource is undefined on an object. That's okay. And then, so let me add a document in here. So this is gonna be a test document to make sure it's just like an arbitrarily empty document. All right. And now we get into UID is undefined. What are you talking about? Hang on, Firebase is being slow. Let's dismiss this. Request auth UID. Oh, do I have to hit publish first? The property UID is undefined. Ah, yeah, that makes sense. So we fail here because UID is undefined. Let's build another document. So we'll make it so UID happens to be my user ID, which is what I'm testing with. Okay, we'll run it. It goes through. So this is interesting because I thought has only meant that I had to have something that had all three of these things. So I want to make sure that it has all three of these things. And what if my user ID was different? If I had user ID equals 2, simulation denied. So when you submit it, it has to be the user ID for yourself, which I like. So let's continue. So then we'll have to do data.body not equal to null. Or is it undefined? Let's see. So I didn't define body there, so this should fail. Yeah. Body is undefined on object. Okay. And data. I'm curious if I can auto fill timestamp to like now, like the current time on the database side. I'm not sure if that's true. Okay, so now I'm gonna say that body, timestamp, and UID essentially have to be not null. And then I also want to make so body has to contain at least 5 characters. So I'm a little curious on how I might do that. Is there like a length? Data.body.length greater than 5, and data.body.length is less than. And we're gonna limit people to 5,000 characters. That seems reasonable and maybe even excessive. So let's build our document here. We're gonna have a UID, which has to be my user ID. We're gonna add in, here body. This is yet another test comment, and then timestamp must be, we'll do it current time. Done. Okay. Let's see this simulated submit. Fails. And my guess is, all right, so if I were to comment, let's dismiss this. My guess is that this dot length doesn't do what I want. Let's try that simulated. Let's zoom out to get. Okay, so how do I check? So let's do Firestore rules check length of string. Oh, I also need to make sure the data types are correct. So I want to say body, data.body is not null. Data, well, I could actually do the full one. I don't think I need null here anymore. I can say data.body is string. Data.timestamp is timestamp. Yeah. Let's try again. All right, because length now I was going like, oh, well, if I'm doing length here, then it's gonna potentially have an array with a length. So let's see. Dot size. Okay, so we got a dot size on it. I search around. Source.data.description.length. Interesting. Trying data. I need to limit the length of a strength field. All right, let's try. Let's try this. Let's see if size does it for us. Oh, or is this a method? Do I have to do dot length as a method? Unknown error. Not that. All right, let's see if we can get one of these working. Data.body is string. Data.size. It's okay with size. And just to test size, we're gonna put a string in there that's less than. Oh, this has to be size as well. Okay. Let's try constructing a different. All right. I'm much happier with this solution than what I had previously. Okay. Let's dismiss that. We'll build a new document. So UID is my user ID. We have a body, has a single character in it. Timestamp. Like that. Okay, so it does fail with that. Let's try. Okay, so I'm pretty happy with that. I'm not 100% sure what this size thing is doing, but I'm going to use this as we go. So a user comment must contain a body, timestamp, and UID. The body must be at least 5 characters and less than 5,000. The UID must match the user who is commenting. Okay. Happy with that. Okay. Now we have to make it so when we go to comment, it's actually doing the correct thing. So commenting. So it's post comment, I think. All right, so post comment. And we want to do a little bit more validation. So is valid comment and body.length less than 5,000. So now you have to have a body length. One thing, we can still spoof the timestamp, so I'm not sure. We're gonna figure out how to make it so that you cannot submit a timestamp that is invalid. Because the way we're doing it right now is just saying get, when we hit submit, a clever user could authenticate and then submit whatever they want. We've made it so that they have to submit their user ID in their data. So UID has to be user data.uid. Oops, I don't need the interpolator there. And the question is, how do I make it so that it generates a document ID? Yeah, so I know that's possible. And so we're gonna go to the documentation for read data, add and manage data, add data. Set doc, add a document. You must specify an ID for the document create. I know that there's an auto merge here. Well, let's go. Firestore, create document with auto ID. Interesting. Let's look at the Node.js. So just add. So we're going to add to a collection. So we no longer need to do this get doc thing, because before I was like getting the user's document and creating it. All right, so instead of get doc, yeah, Firestore, auto generator for document and not collection. How to create an auto ID inside a Firestore document. Doc, just collection. Okay, so because that's what we have. Doc, collection, new comment ref, doc collection. Like that. Let me do set doc with new comment ref and data. And I believe this, let's see. I believe we can just on success here. All right, let's save this real quick and go back to get my previous on success. Oh no, there it is. Okay, so essentially I want this, and my previous on success was this. I just want to make sure I have that. So we're gonna wait. And on success, we do this. And on failure, we do this, you know, to do show error message to user, just in case it wasn't able to post it. But this will add in comment template, comment box. Okay. This is my attempt here. I think this will work-ish. Let's see if we can leave a comment. A test comment for you. All right, invalid reference. Document reference must have an even number of segments, but articles has 3. I don't want it to be a doc. Oh, I didn't switch this back. Collection. Okay. Let's try that. So I think if we do that, let's check. Yet another comment. New comment ref is not defined because, and do that. Ugh, JavaScript, not TypeScript or something that has types would stop me from making these silly little mistakes. Yet another comment. New comment ref is not defined, line 204. New comments. Oh. All right, sometimes you just gotta slow down. I'm trying to move too fast, apparently. Yet another comment. Woohoo! All right. Can post a comment. If I try and post with a blank, comment was not valid. If I try and post something gigantic, it should also not work. Let's do something wild. View page source. All right, this is probably too many. Comment was not valid. Okay, awesome. So a clever user should now no longer be able to submit something crazy. We've restricted them, and that's a good thing. At the database level, yeah. The timestamp's the one thing you can still spoof, so if you want your comment to show up first, if you really want to, you can do that. Let's see if we can do Firestore validate timestamp. Let's see, you should always validate client input and even if you're using how do I check on the client side if the user on client created with only timestamps equal to request time? Okay, we're gonna try this, and then we essentially have to do server timestamp request.time. Okay. Let us add this in here. And then we have data.timestamp is equal to request.time. So I guess I should just be passing the request in here. And this becomes request dot auth.uid, and then this becomes request dot time. Okay, I'm gonna do an and here. This is gonna fail in a second because the way I'm generating the times, I was like timestamp.now, not server time, and this should be a request coming in. Okay, let us do server time. So I'm 90% sure this will now fail. If I try and leave a comment. Leave a comment. Yeah, insufficient permissions. Like you can't write something that isn't the current timestamp. And it's just because this should be timestamp dot server time. Let's look at that. Timestamp dot server time. Firestore timestamp. Static methods server time. server time. I might have to, there might be something in up here. There might be a server time. Server time. Is that a thing? Does not provide server time. Okay. Server time stamp. There it is. Server time stamp. Capital S? No. Yeah, so it's server timestamp. So down here where I had server time, this should become server timestamp. Let us try that. Yet another comment by me. Server timestamp today is not a function. All right, I've done something wrong here. Timestamp line 204. Oh, I don't have the actual timestamp. I'm passing data. Yeah. And that's like server timestamp, and it's like some arbitrary thing. So we should do something a little bit hacky. Format timestamp. If it's, I can't, so I essentially want to say if it's a server timestamp. All right, so we'll do if timestamp let me look at setDoc. Does setDoc give us back setDoc? All right, so my question is, does this actually give us back something? So let's go look at the documentation for setDoc. setDoc. My guess is no. Promise void. Yeah, it doesn't actually give us the thing back. Let's look at what server timestamp actually returns. Returns a field value. So I might be able to say something like if it is equal to server timestamp. Let's try that. So if add comment format. So if timestamp is equal to server timestamp, timestamp equals timestamp.now. So then it'll just format it to whatever the current time is. We do see that. I got a comment there. Testing another comment. Same error. So this it was not okay with. ToDate is not a function. 207 131. Yeah. And timestamp, I just want to make sure timestamp.now is the correct thing. Timestamp.now. Yeah, it's the correct one. So we'll do this. We'll say if there is no toDate. So if it's undefined, we'll do that. Let's try again. One more time, hopefully. So just one more time. Okay. There, it worked. And when we refresh, we get that. Oh, the comments are so much better. So much better. On the back end, I had hated the way I'd hated the way I had chosen to do it initially. It felt pretty bad, but I've learned so much more about how documents work and how the rules work. So this is like exactly the point of a prototype, is to learn, okay, what should I do? I'm trying to learn what I don't know so that I can do something interesting with it. And so I don't have to go and do anything special. One thing that is interesting is so let's go to get comments. I have a feeling now that I can, when I do get comments, I get docs in this way. I have a feeling I can actually do a query now where they'll come out sorted and I don't have to sort them here. I feel like there's a way to do it. Right now I'm just saying get everything, but I feel like I could do a query and sort them. But let's go ahead and save this for now. Get commit -m work in progress refactor get commit comments to use new schema. All right, I'm very happy with this. Very happy with this. Beautiful. So I think the next thing I want to do is add a way to see multiple, like an index page that shows all of the articles. So essentially I can either add an index page that sees all of the articles, or my other option is to actually like publish this and add routing. That's a second thing I might want to do, is add some kind of routing for it. There's a third thing. I need to make it so that you cannot post links in the markdown here, or make it so it doesn't render links. I think that would be the best way to do this. So the reason I don't want people to be able to render links in markdown is you can do a link like this. This is a link, and they could do JavaScript. They can put this as the link: JavaScript alert hello world, and they can put arbitrary JavaScript there. I think with JavaScript. Oh, that was interesting. It didn't do what I thought. Let's look at what that link actually has. I might have done something wrong. Inspect this element. Okay. It didn't allow that. I feel like you... All right, let's try Reddit. Let's try a real link. This, they link to Reddit. That worked. All right. This is an attempt. Cross-site scripting. Let's try it again. Link JavaScript alert hi. Did I just mess it up before is the question. Yeah, I think I just messed it up before. I put the double quote, so now it's still not gonna work. Okay, I just messed it up. So this is an XSS attempt. Link JavaScript alert single quotes hi single quotes. There you go. So yeah, you could do cross-site scripting where you could post some link in here and then run, when someone clicks this, it runs that script for whoever happens to be logged in. So we don't want that. So I think I'm just gonna make it so you can't put links in, or they don't get rendered. Links, this particular type of, so we're basically gonna restrict it so you can't post links. And I think we can do that in our options. So let's look at our showdown. When we do our comment here, I think I want to disable links as an option. I don't know if that is an option we can do, but ideally that's what we're gonna do here. Showdown JS options, disable links. Options, links. I like this. Enable automatic links. So if you post a URL, it'll highlight it. So I like that. So I want this to be true. If you post a link, it will automatically detect it. But I want to disallow. Oh, it looks like showdown. Looks like we may not be able to do that. Because there is a whole thing here about like this is can't whitelist, stripping HTML tag is not enough. Their suggestion is you render on the back end, but I want, there is no back end on this application. I want to just restrict showdown JS subset of markdown. Not possible. This would require creating a custom build. There's other mechanism in place. Could be used to have showdown only convert bold markdown, like listen to dispatch prevent. Oh, this is disappointing. I might have to use a different markdown converter or accept cross-site scripting attacks, which is not acceptable. I can't accept that. Shutdown, disallow links. Oh, am I gonna have to? I guess I can just get rid of all links. And just disallow links. So converter here after we get this HTML. All right. All right, so we'll do const, yeah, new node. We gotta go through and loop down, remove links, new node. So we'll have a function here, function, remove links, element, do an element dot query selector all, find all of our A tags, const anchor tags, and we got to go through anchor tags dot for anchor tags for let tag of anchor tags tag.href equals nothing. So we'll just clear out any href that might have been set. Which didn't work. I think, let's see here. It did, it's still an href that reloads. How do you delete? All right, so how do you delete property? JavaScript delete, or if I set it to undefined, is that what we want to do? No. Undefined. Delete key JavaScript. Delete. Okay. Let's try that. What? No. Interesting. JavaScript remove href from link. Remove attribute. Okay. Tag dot remove attribute href. There we go. So it'll get rid of the link. Doesn't allow links. And maybe even set, you know, tag.inner HTML equals link removed. Yeah, just say we're not going to allow links. It'll be replaced with link removed. Okay, that is what I'm going to do for that for now. Since I don't have a backend for rendering the comments, we're just going to say, well, we're going to strip out there any link that gets put in there. My question is, like, can Markdown add buttons? Markdown add button. See, I don't know that I can actually do that. With, yeah, that's a little scary. Markdown add button. See if it lets me do this. No. Okay. This is like GitHub style Markdown. I really should probably just go through and remove all hrefs and on some things. This, I think, is what I'm going to do for now. And a little to do. Consider better security measure. Because I'm sure there's ways a clever person could get around this. Because it's not on the back end, this is on the client side. Git commit -m work in progress. remove links from comments. Go ahead and push that. All right, cruising along here, making some solid progress. Feeling like we made some solid progress. Have an actual blog thing here. We can post comments that have markdown signs. So I want people to be able to post code segments. Should probably make it so that you can delete your own comments, but I'm gonna not do that for now. I'm gonna have that as like a nice feature. So like the idea would be is if your UID matches, you can press delete, then there's a rule that says you can delete it. That actually probably wouldn't be that hard to do. That's okay. I'm gonna leave it for now. Let's delete all of these. Here, if I just delete this collection. That'll get rid of all of them. Can I? Non-empty array is required for filters. Line 99. App. All right. That's interesting. JS line 99. Interesting. A non-empty is required for in filters. All right, let me see what happens if I try and post a comment. There are currently no comments. Leave a comment. Test comments. Okay, so it will create the collection. That was what I was wondering. Is would it automatically create a collection for me? All right, so we basically want to do a thing here that says if there are no comments, we'll put a little thing here that says, you know, we'll just have leave a comment down there for now. This is coming together. Don't know what was going on with that error. That error didn't make sense to me. Let's look at it one more time. See if I can get it to make sense to me. We'll go back to articles, comments, delete collection, comments. Clearly, it is specifically, oh, it's this get user data. All right. So we're gonna say UIDs dot length. Is that a thing on set? S let s equals new set s dot length s dot size. Yeah. Length. So UIDs dot size greater than 0. Otherwise, we'll just do the empty lists. And now that error goes away. Yeah. So essentially we can do a thing here if there are no comments, put a default message down there. To do if there are no comments, add a be the first to comment message. Yeah. Okay. Get status, get add, get commit, work in progress, add check for 0 comments. Okay. All right, I think it is now time to actually add a real index page. So far this has been index. And what I really want is we're going to change this to article.html. And the index is going to show all the articles, and then we'll just have, oh, excuse me. We'll have this sort of be a template for our articles, and the index itself just loads up like a list of articles. All right, so this will be a little bit, the nav bar is the same, but the content's different. So let's get rid of all of this. Okay. Just have world's worst blog. Welcome link. Okay. That's not. All right. I broke everything. And that's just because when we start up, it looks for all of these things. Yeah, it looks for all of these things, which isn't what we need. Okay. That's only on the article. So let's name this article.js, and in our article HTML we'll load article.js, and a new one called app.js, and we might be importing things from article, I'm not sure. But now our index just doesn't do anything like that. Let's make sure article. Okay. But we do have some commonalities here. So there are certain things that we need to do on both. We don't need to load the article. We do need to have this on state change. So let's start here. We do need these logins. We do need user settings. Display name, form, post comment. So we don't need those. We need a login modal, setting modal. We don't need a comments modal. We do want all of these. We don't load on the page start. It's gonna be a different load. It's gonna be like load all articles. Okay, so these are the things we need. We need on auth state changed. On auth state changed. Just define up here. For now, let's go ahead and we're gonna need all of this. All right, so at some point we're gonna have to refactor this into some smart modules, but for now we're getting. All right, actually let's do new file, Firebase, like this. And this is gonna have our configuration in it. Like this. We need all of this. And can we do export, export, export? All right, let's make sure. If I don't use Firebase config. All right, let's comment this out. Let's go back to article. We're gonna abstract the things that we need between the two. All right, can I import appdb auth from and I'm hoping I can do Firebase.js. App has already been declared. All right, so let's comment this out. Needs to be relative, so /. All right, cool. So let's start abstracting those things out. My article no longer needs these. We do need to have comments, no, settings and login modal. So I like really we should put those in their own little thing. So new should be like a class. Let's think through this. I am gonna need those things. So we can do, for now I'm gonna do common.js, and common.js is going to have login and setting modal in it. Let's try not to break things just yet. And then it's also going to have its own document body on load, show comment modal. All right, actually it's gonna have a function called export. So we're gonna export init login modal export function. And so to initialize the login modal, we need this. The login modal, that might be all we need. But we need to also have these. Okay. And so we need to still show login, logout, Google Auth, GitHub Auth from article. Show login. Show login, log out. Which is going to require us to have more stuff. Okay. So log out, we need the sign out on dauth. Yeah, so sign out is coming from this, I believe. So we import that and we use those. We're gonna need more of this stuff in a second. But sign out on dauth. On dauth. Excellent. On dauth has this. We need to export let user data equals undefined. Toggle logged in elements. All right, toggle logged in elements. And we'll decide whether or not we have to export all of these soon. Swap CSS, update display name. All right, swap CSS and update display name. Swap CSS. Okay, so that one is all self-contained, and then update display name. Update display name. That one is also self-contained. So we got toggled elements on dauth, sign out, log out. All right, so we got log out. Now we need Google Auth and GitHub Auth. Google Auth, GitHub Auth, and then those both rely on perform auth. Google Auth, GitHub Auth, perform auth, sign in with pop-up, on dauth, user. Surprisingly on... Oh, it's because we're going to do that on the onState changed, which isn't defined yet. So onState changed. We're going to need onAuth in a second. All right, we're still getting through this. All right, we're trying to initialize the login modal. All right, so I actually think I should rename this to login. So this is the login, and we're only going to deal with, well, it has settings is also part of that. All right, so user, we're gonna call it user. Okay. So, man, this init login, okay. Show login, logout, Google Auth, GitHub Auth. We've done that. We also initializing it, set users display name. Yep, this is part of the settings modal. We need to make it so we can have the settings modal display. This is part of the settings. And this is show and post comment we don't need. And then lastly, settings modal, like that. Okay, so this is init login modal. So if all went well, well, it's init login and settings modal. Down here, we're gonna do this, which we should be able to get rid of all of these things. And then we want to import init login modal from user.js. Undefined. Line 5 of user.js. Undefined. Okay. Set users display name is not defined. Okay, so I missed something. Set users. Oh, that makes sense. There are things down here that I haven't brought in. We gotta set users display name. Set users display name. Bring that over. Okay. The question is, did I actually get everything? Login. Auth is not defined. Okay, so we have to get auth from Firebase. Import auth from Firebase. Like this. Login. Make sure I can still log in. Did I do on? I didn't call on auth state changed. Let's undo this real quick. Get a little alarm, let me know my class is going to be starting soon-ish. All right, I'm missing this. So I need to add that into this init part. All right, and let's redo back to where it was. On auth is not defined. So on auth. Take this. Thought I had done this. On auth. No. At deauth. All right. Set display name. That makes sense. Set display name. Doc is not available. Yeah, that's part of this. Let's bring in the Firestore real quick. Oops. DB is not defined. DB. All right, we're able to log in. Make sure you leave that. Leaving a test comment. Post comment. Article 201. What's interesting is I think we want to do let user data here and login modal. Let's see. Tests comment. Yeah, because we want to use the user data from that one. Let's see if we can get rid of all the things that we moved between these two. I'm gonna put them side by side just so I can. In our article, we want to get rid of the login modal, settings modal, show login, log out. We're going to be systematic about this. On deauth, on deauth. Function on auth. Function set display name. Function toggle elements. Function update display name. And we can see these are starting to gray out because there's no reference to them. Swap CSS. Function Google auth. GitHub auth. Perform auth. Set users display name. Okay. It's interesting. It's validate display name. Validate display name. Function. All right, so we need validate display name. I just hadn't done that test yet. Is there anything else grayed out here? Show comment modal. We're gonna create something called comments in a second. Not in a second, but next. Is valid comment, post comment, format timestamp, remove links, add comment, get user data. That seems like that's related to comments. Get comments, fix images, highlight code, and then that's related to the article. All right. comment there. Can I log out? Can I log back in with GitHub? Maybe. All right. Update display name. There we go. All right. Leave another comment. Commenting as J Collard. Okay. Pretty good. Good stuff. All right. So we pulled out the commonality. So in my article now, I don't need to import this. I no longer need git firestore. So let's clean up the imports real quick. We don't even use the auth. We only need DB here. Okay. We don't need that or that or that. I think, did I? Yeah, they're grayed out. VS Code has detected that they're not being used. And go to our users. Don't need git firestore. Start clean up imports. Organize imports. Hey. Okay. Okay. Organize imports. Feeling pretty good about that. It's not the best refactor, but we've pulled out things a little bit so I don't have to like rewrite that code. Because I was about to, and that seemed a little dumb. All right, so in app now, we can actually do something like this, but instead we're not going to load articles. We don't care about comments. We should be able to just init like that on our index. So this one's still app. Yeah, so let's see what happens on our index. Oh, I got to import it, of course. So we're going to import that. And there we go. All right. And I can still log out. I can log in on this page. It should still have all my credentials, my display name stored in there. And now my index, I can clear out everything down. I still need to leave these modals. Yeah. I have the modals. I don't need the comment section. Post comment section. Get rid of that. Don't need this. It's interesting as I put my modals inside the content area. I didn't mean to do that. Login modal still required. Comment modal still not required. Setting modal still required. So one thing I really dislike about this is I have, if I change the way these modals look, I have to move them so there's not like a HTML component. So it might actually make sense to put this inside of the JavaScript somehow. All right, now we just have loading and it never loads because the article doesn't load. And instead, this is going to end up being sort of like a list of articles sorted by the posting date. And maybe a little thing that says like, welcome, to the world's worst blog, blah, blah, blah. And then have some cards that go through and display them. That said, I am gonna stop here. I'm gonna stop here, not quite at 2 hours, but I do have a class I teach So I teach in about an hour. I'm gonna stop here, prep for that class. I hope you enjoyed this. I hope you got something out of this. This was fun for me. I'm really happy with where we are. Let me get a commit in. Git commit. Another work in progress. Refactor modules to separate JS. Okay. Push that up for anyone who wants to get it. Yeah, have a beautiful day, and you're welcome back anytime.